What's up, guys? With the launch of 1.0 for Temtem, I know there's a lot of new players playing through the campaign, and once they're done, they're not quite sure what it is they want to do or where to start. So I thought I'd make this video going over some good activities to get into and a beginner team to help you get into PvP. So I'll show you the activities, I'll show you how to obtain some Tems through the trading house, and at the end of the video you'll be able to see the starter team that I've put together with some pretty beginner and good all-around Tems. So let's get into it. So one of the most important activities you're going to want to do once you reach the end game is Dojo Rebattles. So what this is each dojo leader you fought during the campaign, all 8 of them, you'll be able to rematch each of them once a week in a PvP style competitive format. This is a great introduction to PvP as it will take you through the pick and ban phase to help you get used to that. And it provides you a decent amount of pansuns and feathers. This is the easiest and most lucrative way to start gaining pansuns each week. So when you do this, you're going to want to have a pretty decent team. Once you get much better, you can beat them with all sorts of different teams. But the team I will provide is a pretty basic and beginner team that's well-rounded. You will want to get some Tems off the trading house as well. So the dojo leaders will match whatever your highest level Tem is that you have. So for example, if you have a level 100 Tem, all of their Tems on their teams will be level 100. So you want to make sure when going into this, all of your Tems are the same level, whatever that level is. If you have a level 90 Tem and that's your highest, their Tems will be 90. So you want to make sure your Tems are all around the same level. And the higher level you have and the higher levels you beat them with, the more pansuns you will get. Something else to consider is you're going to want to possibly buy some new Tems off the auction house that have better SVs. So those are your stats that you can increase from breeding and getting a perfect Tem, as people will call it. You don't need to have a Tem with all 50 in each SV stat. It's not that important. You can just go for ones that have all green stats, and they will be much cheaper if you do that. So let's take a look at the trading house, and we can go over some of the ways you could buy some cheaper Tems that are also still pretty strong. So here we are at the trading house. You can see the symbol here outside of it. Also, the symbol on the map is like a little gavel. There's one in Properton, which is where I am. There's one in Turquesa and one in Quetzal. So we're going to head on in here, and whenever you go in, you just have to talk to the lady at the front desk when your first time here so you can register with them. And then you can come over to these terminals over here and you can start buying the Tems that you want. So here on the left, you can see all the different stats I was talking about earlier. So the maximum you can get in each SV is 50. And to buy a Tem with all 50s, it will definitely cost more. I would say an average Tem would maybe be somewhere between like 30 to 40K. If you're looking for a little bit more popular Tem that a lot of people are using in the meta, or maybe they're a little more rare, harder to breed, they're going to start running more around like 50 to 60K. It's really up to you what you think is worth buying. You will need them for dojo rebattles and in-game tournaments, dojo wars. There are reasons to get these. They help with any PvE content, like some of the new events on Tamer's Paradise. That being said, if you're just looking for some Tems specifically for dojo rebattles and PvP, you really could get away with just having all green stats. And what I mean by that is they don't have to be 50. And you can see how some of these are orange and some of these are green. Green starts around 35 and higher. So if you can get them all green, it's going to be much, much cheaper and still get you pretty much enough value that you will want. Something else to keep in mind is egg moves. You can see here indicated on each Tem with a little egg symbol. Whether or not you do need egg moves or you don't need egg moves, I would generally recommend trying to get them with egg moves unless you really don't need the egg move and it will save you money getting it without it. Definitely check out the wiki if you're looking for a lot of stuff. I'll link that below as well. The wiki has tons and tons of information. If you haven't started using that yet, I definitely recommend familiarizing yourself with that. One thing to keep in mind that I didn't mention was the other reason you can get non-perfect Tems with lower than 50 stats is if you're looking to PvP, PvP will actually equalize all of your SVs up to 50 and make your Tem level 100. So that's another reason you can get away without having to buy the more expensive perfect Tems. But you will have to make the decision if there are other activities you want to do, such as in-game tournaments and Dojo Wars. You will need to buy perfects for that. Well, you don't need to, but I highly recommend getting perfects if you plan on doing that kind of content. So we can take a quick look at the filters. It's pretty straightforward. Here you're going to want to put the Tem's name in. So for example, if we're looking for something like Zazer, you can type part of the name and usually it will auto-complete it if you get pretty close. And then you can click here. It'll actually show you any egg techniques it could have. Usually you're able to just kind of click one of them, and most people will have all the egg moves on them. So if we know we're looking for Burrow and Jinxed Whisper and we click accept and Zazer comes up, we can see this one only has Burrow on them. This one has Jinxed Whisper, and you can see that these have perfect stats here, and the price is a little higher on this Tem. You can also see whether or not you want to get it as an egg or as a non-egg. The other thing to keep in mind is the trait, which you can see over here. When it's question marked, that means it will be a random trait. You have no idea which one it will be, so you could take a gamble on one that has a random trait, or you can also search in the filter by the trait you're looking for. So for example, if we want Electric Custodian, we can search for that, and we can see that it has the egg move, and we can see this one has both egg moves, so on and so forth. Something else, if you want to look just for eggs, you can click egg. If you notice, sometimes things won't pop up. I will say it's been a little tricky getting around the auction house, but just make sure you're trying to go through all the different options to look for stuff. It's a little harder to find, a little rough quality of life, but you will be able to eventually find some stuff if they're on the auction house. Not everything will be there. So keep that in mind. Like I said, you don't have to go for perfect statted Tem, but they are pretty useful. It's totally up to you. If you're just starting out, it doesn't hurt to just buy all green Tems to get through your dojo rebattles and hop into PvP. So with that said, let's take a look at this beginner team that I've put together. Alright, so here we have a pretty standard, simple team I put together. This is on the Temtem website. I will link this down below. Great website to familiarize yourself with if you're looking to get into PvP or just need help building teams in general. A great way to organize them. This comprises some pretty meta Tems, pretty standard Tems, easy to play, easy to pick up. You'll notice as you're going through them, I built them very, very simply, mostly with just health points and their offensive points with a little bit of stamina in each. So if you're not quite sure, basically you have what's called TVs, and you can choose how many of each to put in to your stats, up to a total of 1,000. So you'll see most of the time for beginners, I like to just put in HP and attack, and then a little bit of stamina so that you can do a sort of rotation of abilities. Whether it's, like for example, on Roller, if you want to use Drill Impact like 3 times, or Drill Impact, then Goring, then Drill Impact. It's a great way to start kind of familiarizing yourself with how you should put a certain amount of stamina TVs in different Tems. Quick little note as well. Generally, if you're not really sure how much stamina TVs you want to put in, you want a total of at least 61 staminas if you're kind of close to that. At 61, 81, 101, and so on, you'll gain an extra stamina per turn. So instead of getting 4 stamina per turn, if you have at least 61 total stamina, you'll get 5 stamina per turn. So that's a nice little breakpoint to look for if you're not really sure what to work with. I did not put any speed TVs on these Tems. You'll see like here, there's 2 speed TVs because there was a little bit of leftover, but speed is very, very important, but it is very difficult to calculate unless you know what you're doing or what you're looking for. So generally I don't tell people to put speed TVs in right away unless you want that extra challenge to figure it out. That comes with figuring out speed break points, what you want to outspeed, what you're afraid of outspeeding, so on and so forth. So that's a little more challenging, and that would be like the next step after you kind of get a good understanding of how to play your Tems and how to build them. There are a couple little combos in here I like to put in so that you can kind of figure them out as you go and learn to play them. A lot of them come from synergy moves. So, for example, Rolder and Minotaur is a pretty common duo that you'll see played together. Minotaur has Black Hole, which synergizes with Earth. Paizo synergizes with Earth. Sparkling Bullet, which synergizes with Neutral. So they're pretty common. You'll see them together. We have Volarend with Toxic Plume, and we have 2 Crystal Tems in the team. Golzi also has Hasty Lunge for nature synergy with Chimerian. Another common combo, Ukama Volarend, for the Water Cannon Toxic synergy. So as you're going through, you'll kind of see these couple little combos or synergy moves you can do that work really well together. So, like I said, this is an incredibly simple, straightforward team. Great for dojo rematches, and if you're looking to get your feet wet in PvP, there are tons and tons of other different Tems and teams you can play. Don't feel like you're pigeonholed into just playing this. This is just an easy way to kind of get into it. If some of these are too expensive as well, feel free to buy some other Tems. I think the best thing you can do when you're building a team is find some specific Tem or a group of Tems, commonly called a core, that you really like and you want to play around, and start from there. But again, this is just to get you started if you're looking for something nice and easy, some synergies here and there, and some common Tems that you might use on other teams if you want to build a new team. With that being said, if you have any questions, as usual, leave them down in the comment section below, or come on over to twitch.tv/Karth, ask me there. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.